this is the first time in I don't even know how long that we have gotten to see on screen, live and in person, Jett Boogie, the triumphant return. She is here, and this is fucking awesome. I wanted to celebrate your return, my friend. It's amazing to see you. We're so happy you're here. Jett Boogie is back with us. Yay, finally. Fucking finally. Awesome.
Finally.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I just have to say, Jett, in your absence, Mike and I have done a sorry job of playing your character. Mike better than me, but for whatever reason, girlfriend just in combat, holy fucking shit. Dude, she rolled 2 20s, two natural 20s. I mean, just like it was you. She was like, just stood up and was like, wham, wham. You know, and then I made up something pithy that she said something about we were fighting plants, and so I made a comment about why are we gardeners all of a sudden, and because it just seemed like something she would say. Just destroying it, man. It was great. It was great, and I think Mike has had similar experiences. It's like she comes out of these combat things like unscathed. I mean, just unscathed, and just destroys people, and then sits back down and slicks her hair back. And
I cheated. I went on to a couple of the Pose fan sites and pulled some direct quotes from Elektra and tried to kind of modify them. We look too good not to be in combat. That kind of stuff. All that kind of vibe. So there's been a couple times where, do you want to do something? She's like, nope.
I'm just gonna sit here.
I'm going to sit right here and just let this shit unfold. When I need to act, I'll act.
No, and it was great. I'll tell you guys a funny story because it came back around to Elektra and Desna and like Kira. I was out at dinner with my wife. We were at our pub, and I don't remember how we got onto it, but we started talking about the bar fight, and I said it's really funny to see the different kind of gender roles in our game, because the bar fight starts and all the guys get up like, yeah, let's get in a bar fight, and I run over and Theron runs over and Daisy's, we're all getting in a bar fight, and the ladies are just sitting here going, nah, we're just gonna sit here to have a drink. Like Kira is like, you guys are making too much noise. Wham, puts half the room to sleep. It was great. It was fantastic. And so I was remembering that when you're sitting there and you're like, Mike's like, do you want to do anything? You're like, no. I'm just going to sit here with my girls. We're going to drink, just chill it, They started it. We'll finish it if we have to. And it was brilliant. So, yeah, I love that coming around. So it was one of my favorite episodes, because it was as someone who's played games for a long time, and for me, a big component of them has always been the combat. Not the only component, but a big component. And it never even occurred to me that, I don't have to get in a fight. I could just sit here. That never even popped into my brain. So when you guys did that, I'm like, that's awesome. I would have never even thought to do that. Of course I'm going to there's a fight. Of course you enter the fight. And they're like, no, we're not going to do that.
That's
what do you mean you're not going to do that? It's great. I love it.
Yeah, plus I figured it'd be a good opportunity to talk about, since we leveled. The characters leveled from first to second in your absence. And since we have two fighters in the group, originally I think Mark's idea is he was just going to basically feat you both out the same way, just because it'd be easier for the advancement. Right. But knowing that you were going to change things, knowing that when you came back and put your head into it, that you were going to pick things that you wanted specifically for her. Have you had a chance to look at any of that stuff, or look at the options, or any glaring questions coming out? I was just pulling up the fighter in the core rulebook just to look at some of the options. How did you set up Simon? What direction did you go with Simon as a fighter?
Let me pull him up and look. So I've got Jett's sheet up too. So let me see.
I'm going to grab my book.
Okay.
So what was your question, Mike?
We were talking about how we have two fighters in the group.
Yeah.
We have Simon and Elektra both as fighter class. And there's I'm curious to see how both of you have decided to take your characters as far as your advancement. If you're going to be similar in styles, if there's going to be some... I know we're only going from first to second, so there's not a whole lot of growth on the path. But I'm just curious to see where each of you, what direction you're going with your fighters.
Right, okay.
So I think from first to second, what did you get? You got a skill feat at second level.
Right, and I took intimidating glare, which is really just throwing like mean, like side eye, giving somebody the hairy eyebrow for real, and then they freak out or they don't. Right, I'm oversimplifying. Steven's giving me the hairy eyebrow, going, "What are you even talking about, dude?" Intimidating glare. And I set that Jett for Electra as well, simply because I didn't want to put a whole lot of brain work into picking stuff that I knew you were probably going to change.
And that's a fighter feat, or is that a class feat?
That is a skill feat. My class feat, I chose sudden charge, which I believe is a shield charge skill that I need to go then look back up. So I'm trying to remember where that was.
Sudden charge, feat 1, fighter flourish open. Quick sprint, you dash up your foe and swing, strike twice if you end your movement within melee range of at least one enemy. You can make a melee strike against that enemy. Well, that's not very good use of the English language. God damn. There's got to be an easier way to express what they're trying to say here. You can use sudden charge while burrowing, climbing, flying, swimming instead of striding if you have the corresponding movement type.
Movement type, right.
So striding is a movement type.
Right. Well, striding, I believe they assume, you swing stride twice, meaning you're on foot. That's what they mean by that. Because at the beginning it says with a quick sprint, you dash up to your foe and swing stride twice, meaning it costs 2 movement actions.
Yeah. So stride is an increment of movement, right? Your stride is your movement. So if you have a move of 30, stride is a 30 move, right?
Right.
So with a quick sprint, you dash up to your foe and swing. Stride twice. So it allows you a double move with a swing at the end of it.
Right.
Okay. Almost always ignore the first sentence or the first clause of a power. It's meaningless.
So that's just a flurry of flowery text.
Fluff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So stride twice if you removing that, stride twice if you end your movement within melee reach of at least one enemy. You can make a melee strike against that enemy. You can use sudden charge. Okay, so right. Yeah.
So this feat allows you, instead of doing a stride with no attack at the end of it, you get to do a stride with an attack at the end of it because you're a charger.
Right. If I base up on somebody.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So that's the fighter one that I picked, and I believe I picked that same thing for you, Jett, because again, just said it's the same, so you can change it on Electra. And then the other one is a skill feat, and that's the intimidating glare, which is not specific to fighter, but just specific to or not non-specific. It's just a game feat.
And that was actually you doubled up on another first feat with the sudden charge. That would be something that you can gain at first level. Your second level ones that open up for you are aggressive block, assisting shot, brutish shove, combat grab, dueling parry, intimidating strike, or lunge. So those are all the possibilities, Jett, that you could purchase from your fighter feat. So at second level, it's on page 145. And it's
144, 145.
Yeah, it's the fighter feat section. And since you're second level, you could pick any of the first levels, like Simon did. Simon picked a sudden charge, which was a first level feat. But you can pick from any of the first or any of the seconds, since you've just qualified for second level. In theory, the higher level feats are more powerful. But I don't know.
And those continue on to page 146 as well. So if you flip over to the next page in the book, Jett, you'll see combat grab, dueling parry, intimidating strike, and lunge are all feat 2s. So you could take one of those if you so chose. In place of the sudden charge that I have on your sheet now.
What made you pick sudden charge for Simon?
I just liked the run. I liked the fact that I could run up, base up to somebody, and then take an attack. Part of it is I'm rolling with a shield, in my hand, so I figured, that would make sense. I've already got my, I can throw my shield up. Well, actually, I couldn't do that. No, I can, because I can throw my shield up, and then I can run up, and I've used 3 movement actions. Normally, if I use 3 movement actions like that, I wouldn't be able to attack. But this way, I throw my shield up, I run up, I've used my movement, all 3 of my movement actions, but I still get a swing.
Right.
So I think that was
right.
the logic there. But again, Elektra's a different fighter, and you play her differently than I play Simon, so that may not make sense for what you want to do.
Right.
So you get 2 feats to choose from. One of them's a fighter feat, which is the first
Right.
group that we're talking about. The
Right.
second group is a skill feat, which is more of the lines of the normal feats that are found on page
255, chapter 5.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah,
Yeah.
they start on page 255.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things to keep in mind with sudden charge if you choose to take it, and for Mark, who has taken it.
Okay.
So it's a flourish and an open. Flourish is a waste of a trait in 9 times out of 10. You can probably ignore that, especially with this one. The open means that you have to do it as your first. You can't use an attack action or an open action before you do this.
Okay.
So you can move and then sudden charge, but you can't swing at the guy next to you and then sudden charge.
Oh.
That's what that means. Or if you have another open talent, you can't use that and then sudden charge.
But I can use sudden charge each turn if I want to, as long as it's my first action.
No, it's a little bit more complicated than that.
Okay.
It'd be nicer if it were just that, but it's
No, that's
not.
fine. That's fine. That's why we love you here, because you have that encyclopedic knowledge in your brain, my friend.
It has to be. You can't use it. It doesn't have to be your first action, but you can't use it if you've already attacked, if you've striked or used another thing, or you used another talent with the open. Now, flourish is there, and so you can't use 2 flourishes in the same turn. But flourish is almost always useless, and especially useless at this because it's 2 action anyway.
Right.
And the only other type of flourish than an open is a press, or did they call it a press? Yeah, which is you have to use that as one of your second attacks.
Okay.
Yeah, I did the initial design of these things and came up with the open and press. And the open was originally, this has to be your first action, and the press has to be your last action. And then they overcomplicated it. But 9 times out of 10, it doesn't matter.
Does an opening action always happen on the first round of combat?
No.
It's your opening action on your
turn.
Got it.
Right. So I can use this more than once in a combat. I just have to use it first in my turn.
Correct. It just has to be your opening move every time if you're going to make it your move, right?
No, it doesn't. It's called an open, but it's not really an open because I can attack, I can move and then sudden charge. I can interact and then sudden charge. I can't attack and then sudden charge. Or use an open and then sudden charge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and then I can't use another flourish that round either because of the rules, but 9 times out of 10, that doesn't matter. And that's definitely not how I designed open and press. I originally designed, you could do an open and a press in the same round. And in fact, I had some great combos where you wanted to do that. But then the other designers were all like, that's too powerful. And I'm like, not if you read them. and then they add the flourish thing. And 9 times out of 10, all the flourish does is overcomplicate it. People just aren't going to use it right because it's overcomplicated. But so we'll probably end up, if you guys take other sort of openings, and I've seen it in play, most people ignore both of these things. They just fucking play their character. But technically, by the rules, you have to watch out for those traits.
Copy that.
That's good to know.
So, if you guys are watching this and you understood everything that Steven just explained, then you're smarter than me. I'm going to have to watch this video 4 or 5 times, and then I'll probably still come back with notes. But, thank you for the explanation. Oh, my goodness. So, Jett, I don't know how much of that was helpful or not, but at the very least, it's entertaining.
Yeah.
I think I'm not going to keep sudden charge.
Right.
There are lots of other great options. I mean, there really are. There are lots of other great options here.
And if it's because of the complication, you're going to get the complication, especially within the fighter, because the open and the press are a big part of the fighter, and so is flourish. So if you're just like, fuck that, I don't want to deal with that, look for open, press, and flourish, and avoid those unless you're like, oh, well, this is cool enough where I want to keep it.
And those, the open press and flourish are covered where? Where is that covered in the
They are in a sidebar. They're in the trait section in the back of the book, and they're in a sidebar on 143. Yeah, they're traits in the game. But there's a nice sidebar on 143 that talks about the various traits for.
So while we're doing that, Dana, did you have any questions about your sorcerer, any of your spell casting, or any of the other mechanics specific to your class that have come up?
I do have a question. What is fortune telling even good for? I haven't used it once. I haven't been able to use it once.
It is exactly good enough, as good as it is in real life.
So
that's up for debate.
Here's what fortune telling will do for you. You can roll into a town. You can roll into a town, and you can grift people, and you can read their fortunes, and they'll give you money. That's what fortune telling's for.
I want it to be more than that.
I know.
Or it could be symbolic therapy, right? I've seen plenty of tarot card readers who are basically use the tarot card as almost a type of therapy. But can you tell the future with them?
Well,
doubtful.
You know what? I haven't had the chance to give any of the monsters we've encountered therapy in the middle of the session. So again, I do not see how it's helpful to have this. I was excited. I thought I was going to do some cool stuff. I thought something cool was going to come from it.
Well, I mean,
make money. When do I spend money? When have I?
Right. Well, it doesn't mean you can't take it from other people. Dejna, you do know that fortune telling is pure hokum.
Allegedly.
There's no science behind it.
We all have our opinions. Well, that was my question. I mean,
philosophy is the perfection of opinion.
Yeah. Everything else, I mean, I think I've been getting the hang up for the most part. But really, every time we're rolling for something and I look at my little fortune telling lore, I'm like, what is it?
Yeah,
look at it. Every time I look at it, and I'm like, I wish I could do something with you besides scroll past you on my page,
but you can, and it's called practicing a profession. And basically, what you do is you set up your stall, and you're like, I'm going to read your fortune for this amount of money, and you can make money.
Well,
it's true.
I guess
exactly how
a career at my age.
It's exactly how it works in real life.
In non-Etran's Folly context, if you were in like a sandboxy kind of campaign where you were doing differently, one could establish a pretty strong information network as a fortune teller. Look at how much shit people tell fortune tellers and just give up all that information. Like, and I'm sure many of them do capitalize on it and take that information and do whatever they can to make money off of it. But
I think if I were to be playing like a more, maybe even in-person game or a more in-depth game, one where we had the hours to really put into it, fortune teller would be a great choice, and I would really.
I almost wonder, because I haven't had a lot of chance to really explore this book, Secrets of Magic.
Ah, yes.
But there might be kind of an archetype or something in here where you can.
I got the itty bitty version.
You got the little itty bitty version.
I did. I decided for Pathfinder 2 I was going to buy all the Perfect Bound small versions to save myself a shit ton of money, and just because it keeps them exclusive and unique to themselves. If I have the entire line in this format, then they don't look like any of the other books, and I didn't want Pathfinder 1 and Pathfinder 2 to have a blend. So.
Rare magic with backgrounds. Let's see. Multi-class archetypes. That's not going to be it. I'm not seeing anything that might be spell catalysts.
Fortune. The fortune trait, page 449. That's
luck,
isn't it?
Yeah, that's basically if you roll your dice
Oh,
differently
49. What?
and it's beneficial, then it's fortune. And if you roll so fortune and at its base level, even though there's some variation in there, fortune and misfortune are advantage and disadvantage.
Oh, that's CR 449. That's interesting. This is a full index of all the books up to this point.
In that, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
that's
like that. It was a little confusing. I'm like, wait a minute, 400 and this book doesn't even have 400 pages. What the hell? This book's like 250, 255, isn't it? Something like that. Yeah, 252. Yeah.
Oh, let's see what's in the advanced players guide.
Yeah, I don't see anything about it either, unfortunately.
Let's see, archetypes. We've got archaeologist, beastmaster.
If you were looking to use your fortune-telling skill to actually have some kind of game effect as far as divining was concerned, you could do that by combining a magic item with the skill. So if you could find a magical deck of cards,
like a tarot,
like a magic tarot,
like a harrow. That's what it's called in Pathfinder.
Harrow deck.
Yeah,
a harrow deck. It's the I don't know why they didn't want to use the real name. They changed it from tarot to harrow. Do you know why? Do you know why Paizo didn't want to use tarot?
That decision was made before my time. My guess is so they could trademark it. And make it their own, right?
Gotcha. That makes sense. That does make a certain amount of sense. So there's a Paizo Harrow deck that they came out with an explanation for all of them, and there are magic items that kind of correspond to that. So there is a way for that to happen.
Like I said, I think maybe if I was playing a really in-depth game and we were really, had the time to flesh out characters and all that stuff, it would be a fun character to play, but
I am sure that over the course of the Pathfinder 2nd Edition lifetime, somebody will make some form of archetype that deals with fortune telling and
when they do, somebody let me know, please.
All right. It might even be out there in some of the secondary. I call them secondary. Eric Mona would hate me right now. In the Age of Lost Omens books, I would not be surprised if there's something in there that deals with fortune telling and harrow and where it's got more magical stuff.
What feats are you most excited about, Jett? Have you got an idea about what direction you want to go with Electra's feat choices?
Okay, so instead of intimidating glare, would I be able to use intimidating prowess instead, or is that too?
I believe you can. Intimidating prowess is that's the 2nd level fighter feat.
But intimidating glare is a skill feat, so I think you'd want to replace.
Language is hard. Alphabetize is hard.
But intimidating glare isn't a fighter feat. Intimidating glare is just a feat, I think.
Yeah.
That's a skill feat.
General skill
Yeah, that's
feat.
a skill feat.
That's a skill feat. Yeah.
Right.
So you absolutely could pick that. As
right,
long as it doesn't have any.
Wait, but is intimidating the one that you're picking, Jett? Is that a fighter feat or a skill feat?
It's a skill feat.
Let's see, intimidating.
You get one of each.
Prowess.
Right.
It's a general skill.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. I gotcha.
Yeah. It's a feat 2, general skill, strength 16. You have a strength of 16, you qualify.
Let me see. Maybe not.
And you need to be an expert in intimidation as well. Which
strength is 14.
Yeah, so no.
All right. So that one's out. That one's out. That's when you grow into. Intimidating glare looks like it's the one below that. You get the hairy eyeball, and then you get the presence attack if you're going that route. But if you look right where it says prerequisites, it'll tell you what you have to have before you can take that.
Okay.
How does one gain expertise? If they are already trained, does that happen when you're leveling? You get to pick something to be expertise in, or how do you get that extra level? How do you get those
They come with the skill increase. You can either take training in another skill, or you can increase your skill to to a next rank.
Okay.
And so that comes at the fighter next level. And so next level, Jett would get bravery, which is a class feature, which is not something you get to choose. She gets a general feat, and she gets a skill increase. She could put the skill increase to make her intimidation to
An expert. Yep.
And then take her general feat in intimidating prowess. And then, so next level, she can get that feat. If she had a strength of 16, but she doesn't.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, that one's more about the flex.
Yeah, apparently. A certain type of rogue could take it at second. That's why it's a second level feat.
Okay.
Melee weapon, intimidating strike, emotion, fear, fighter, mental. Your blow not only wounds creatures, but also shadows their confidence. Make a melee strike. If you hit and deal damage, the target is frightened 1 or frightened 2 on a critical hit. Wow.
Right?
You hit them so fucking hard, you scare the fucking bejesus out of them.
Right?
So that's a second level fighter feat. So you could take that as your fighter feat if you wanted to, if you like that idea. There's also lunge, which I could totally see Electra doing. Lunge allows you to do these like really kind of stretching out, super flexy kind of attacks where you can reach farther than you normally could. You extend your body to its limits. You attack an enemy that would normally be beyond your reach. You make a strike with a melee weapon, increasing your reach by 5 feet. So normally you have to be right up against somebody. With the lunge feat, you can lunge 1 square between them and attack them when there's a gap between you, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that was, so for the class feat, I was, instead of sudden charge, I was thinking of either doing lunge or intimidating strike, but I think I don't have enough to do intimidating strike. So
no, those are both, you qualify for both of them. Intimidating strike has no prerequisites. You just buy it. Lunge has no, the prerequisite for lunge is you're wielding a melee weapon. So you have to have a weapon in your hand in order to lunge. You can't lunge with a bow, kind of thing. So
I'm not telling you what to do, Jett. I would offer that, certainly based on the times that I've channeled Electra, that intimidating strike is definitely her thing. Because it's like either you're going to run away or I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
Right.
That's kind of how she rolls. It's like, I'm going to hit you once and you're either going to run away or you're going to die. Those are kind of your two options.
That's it.
That is a good one.
So, it's a really good one. It's a really good one.
So that would be your fighter feat, and then you also get to pick your skill feat as well. So you get one of each.
So I think I'm going to stick with the intimidating glare and work up to the prowess one.
Okay, cool.
And then if you look for that, what is it? Intimidation skill? If you look at the last
general
one,
skill, you need to be trained in intimidation, which I think you are.
Yeah.
And like what Stephen was saying is next round you get a skill increase. So at third level, you could become an expert in intimidation, which then would give you one of the prerequisites for intimidating prowess. If you had a magic item down the road, or if you had the ability to raise your strength up, then you could qualify into that if you wanted to. You may not want to expert in intimidation. You may want to go a different direction. Because what's your strength now? 14?
Yeah.
2 points is going to be a little tough to come by.
Yeah.
Especially in this adventure. 2 points would be tough to come by. Okay, cool. Intimidating glare. And an intimidating strike.
Strike, yep. Do not mess with this lady. She will fuck you up. Period.
Yep. That's a good package. I like that.
Yeah. And it definitely suits not only your character, but your play style, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right. Fantastic.
So, Jett, just a question. I know we touched on this a little bit, but since we have both the player and the character and the artist, what did you think of Dana's interpretation of Electra?
Spot on. It's sexy. It's flexible. She can fight in that. There's no I feel like she can lunge and stretch without any hesitation. I think you did a great job.
Awesome.
Yeah, we loved it too.
Yeah.
Say it again, Dana.
I said I'm glad to hear it was a lot of fun to do. That actress is gorgeous, and I was looking up all these reference pictures of her, and I was telling them a while ago that I'm thinking about starting that show just because I've seen like some of the quotes, and I absolutely like after the way Mark and you and Mike have all played her, I absolutely get the vibe of it. So she's super cool, super good choice for a character too.
Yeah.
It's a great television show. It is. I will caution you though, Dana. It's very heavy. So watch it with your boy, just because it's emotionally, it's super heavy. It's
be careful what characters you fall in love with.
and I would just say, and I still haven't seen season 3 because it's not available for me yet. I've only seen the first 2 seasons. But I would not recommend watching more than one episode at a time. Watch that and then watch a comedy afterwards, something light, because it's a great show, but emotionally it's like most episodes you're like, I'm not crying, you're crying, fuck you. It's that kind of thing.
What I've been hearing.
It's great TV though. It really is great TV. And Dominique Jackson plays an amazing character.
She's actually one of my favorite characters from the show simply because she is already kind of a well-established alpha at the very beginning, and she gets broken down to nothing and built back up again, and her growth arc is fucking sick. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's so good. It's so good. Like, the perfect character. Sometimes you love her, sometimes you fucking hate her. Like you go through the full gambit with her, which is
emotions.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's
love
awesome.
it.
I've heard great things about it, and she's gorgeous. And I've seen like a few clips from the show and everything, and I was like, man, that looks.
You should follow her on Instagram. She's a clown. She's a fucking clown. Every day she posts a little video of her dancing and clowning and with a little saying, or her hanging out with her man. Like she's a clown. She's hilarious.
Yeah.
Krista was saying she was doing a video the other day. She had like a Disney filter on, some kind of Disney filter on that was really funny.
Oh my God, with the big fucking eyes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
She had the Disney filter on.
And then she started doing all the Electra looks. She would like go to the side and she would go, as a Disney princess, and you're just like, oh no, stop it. You're killing me over here. It was awesome. It was incredible.
Good times.
I may have to do that on a stream one day,
Yeah, put a bunch of filters on and be silly.
Yeah.